First, though, turning to the Green New Deal this morning, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez slamming Senate Republicans ahead of a planned vote on her proposal. The legislation needs 60 votes in the Republican-held Senate to advance. Ocasio-Cortez says the vote is a political stunt. She took to Twitter over the weekend saying this: the GOP's whole game of wasting votes in Congress to target others on the record for legislation they have no intent to pass is a disgrace. Stop wasting the American people's time and learn to govern. Our jobs aren't for campaigning, and that's exactly what these bluff votes are for. It's estimated that the Green New Deal will cost upwards of $93 trillion. We want to point that out. Who's wasting whose time here? Joining us right now is Caldwell Strategic Consulting founder and Fox News political analyst, Gianno Caldwell. Gianno, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
AOC comes out with this idea called the Green New Deal, and then she gets mad when Republicans bring it for a vote. Riddle me that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can get one of those CNI dogs for the Democrats on this deal, because obviously they don't clearly see the numbers. Truthfully speaking, you mentioned a $93 trillion number. I mentioned $600,000, which is what it would cost per family. And I know, Maria, you like to come out to L.A. sometimes. So if they have their way, the Democrats, they're going to eliminate air travel in 10 years. So that 5-6 hour trip you take, generally speaking, will now take you a month. So at this point, Democrats should give it up. They're the sham.
I'll swim.
Right. That part.
The thing that I find so fascinating about this is that she's setting an agenda right now that we're all responding to and talking about the crazy part of it. But what the American people are hearing is that she's got a plan for health care, that she's got a plan for the environment, that she's got a plan for all of these different things. And it's the Republicans that have let us down in some of these ways. And so I'm afraid to be too dismissive of this without really taking into account what's going on there.
I'll be dismissive because here's what she says. If she's going to talk about a bluff, or the plan that she introduced says to generate 100% of power from renewables, remove greenhouse gas emissions from manufacturing and transportation to the extent these goals are technologically feasible. Well, they're not. So the whole plan is a big ball of you know what.
And she's trashing the Republicans for bringing it to a vote.
I think the thing
that's and what we got to keep in mind is there was a polling from a Democratic polling firm, that said 76% of Democrats actually wanted to see this pass. So if that be the case, and you guys folks running for president, then you absolutely should bring it to a vote. The interesting part is Joe Manchin said that he's not going to vote president like Chuck Schumer wants him to. He's going to vote against it, which is going to put a lot of Democrats in a position that they all have to vote their conscience on this issue. And a lot of them have pushed back, said it's a dream list, which I think is a dream that probably never makes sense for anyone outside of them politically.
I think voting on it is actually smart by the Republicans because it's going to point out some of the hypocrisy that's going on there.
That's why they're doing it. But I mean, why is she trashing the vote? What does she want? She just wants us to talk about it. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to see who's behind it and who isn't.
Well, the interesting thing is, if it really goes to vote, and you need the Congressional Budget Office to score this thing, what we'll realize is it's not just the cost to taxpayers; it's the cost of lost everything, lost wages, lost earnings.
Yeah.
How about all the companies that'll be out of business and all of the people who'll be unemployed? There's a big knock-on effect to it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we do have to look at how seriously people are taking some of these policies, though. And I think Republicans are going to have to get serious about how they're going to respond to them, not just by taking down, saying the facts of this thing, but what are we going to offer up on health care? What are we going to offer up on living wages? What are we going to offer up on these other things so that there's some alternative to react to that says, oh, well, that seems more reasonable?
Yeah. Health care is a bigger worry, though, I think.
It's a really big worry,
it's a much bigger worry than the Green New Deal.
Oh, for sure.
The Republicans can push back on this pamphlet of idiocy from AOC that by just saying Americans, particularly lower income Americans, can't afford gasoline that's essentially $10 a gallon. That you are saying to the American people, we use fossil fuels because it's cheap and plentiful.
Right.
We're going to drive up cost to save Mother Earth. So we're going to sacrifice Americans who need to drive 2 hours round trip to their job every day to basically save the puddles. And I don't want to sound crass, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and our emissions are falling. We're the leader in emissions reductions in the world. Our emissions have fallen from power plants in this country.
Corporates have done a lot in
and it's
that
all
regard. The private sector. Yeah. Let me move on to the Mueller report, John.